Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the Unsolicited podcast. I am Sam, joined alongside Miss Jordyn. How are you doing today?
I'm hanging in there. It's
Yeah.
it's it's a little bit of a rough day. I feel like I'm still playing catch up from all of the chaos from the NFL draft last week. Like messed up my sleep schedule. I was so hyped that I don't know. I just feel like I've been all over the place since.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm also hanging in there. I just got back from South Jersey a couple days ago. Jordan and I spent the NFL draft together, which was a blast. We had a great time. Ate a lot of random food and
Yes.
a lot of screaming. A lot of
So much
screaming.
screaming in my throat. It's still like the day after you left when I was talking, I was literally raspy and I was like, oh my God, I need to stop yelling. And then the Eagles they drafted Ringo and traded for Swift. So the yelling just didn't stop on day 2 either.
Yeah.
And 3, honestly. I think Swift actually happened on day 3. It's all combining in my brain right now.
Yeah, it's been a crazy couple of days, but I am ready to hop in episode 3 where we are just kind of winging it.
We really are. So Sam and I both have some topics that we want to talk about, but we haven't discussed, like we haven't told the other person what these topics are. So we're going to be in for some fun conversations today, if I could speak. But there was something I told Sam when we hopped on the stream. I was like, there's a story I have to tell you from last night.
Yes. Oh my God.
She's going to yell at me. All right. So if I seem a little out of it today, it's because I most certainly am. Sam, I got on the good side of things 2 hours of sleep last night.
Oh, good
And
gracious.
I don't know where it came from because I've been like tired. Like I haven't been doing anything, but I got into bed last night at like 11:30. And for me, there's a big difference in going to bed and getting into bed. Like going like falling asleep for me is a process. Like I need to lay in bed and watch a couple shows with the lights off. Like I can't just lay down, get under the covers and be asleep. It takes a lot for me. And I knew I could tell it was going to be one of those nights because it was late and I like was still kind of wired. But you know, when you're like wired and tired at the same time, it was that. So I'm laying there and I was like, okay, like it's going to be 50-50. And then all of a sudden it's midnight. And then all of a sudden it's 1:00. Then it's 1:30. And then 2 came around and I was like, this is getting ridiculous. And I kept tossing and turning. The last time I looked at my phone was 2:44. So I fell asleep, let's say right around 3.
Okay.
I sent a text to my boyfriend, Brian, this morning at 5:12 a.m. and was like, there is something wrong. I got those 2 hours and then woke up at 5 and was awake. Could not go back to sleep. So I tossed and turned. I laid in bed until like 7:30, trying to go back to sleep for a couple hours. Couldn't. Woke up and I was like, fuck it. So I went to the grocery store. I did my grocery shopping. I got my car washed. Came home.
Wow.
Oh, I got so much done before like 9:30 this morning. And now it's like 11 a.m. I almost said p.m. So it's 11 a.m. and I'm like ready for bed. I'm becoming nocturnal.
Meanwhile, I texted you at 9:30 and I was like, can we push back our recording? I fell back asleep.
I wish. No, you said that. I was like, I regretted doing my hair and makeup so early because like I probably could have laid down for another half hour, but then I also would have entered the dangerous territory of if I try and take a half-hour nap and wake up, I may feel even more tired because I desperately need sleep and then I didn't get enough of it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try and push through and then get a good night's sleep tonight. But yeah, if I seem crazy today, it's because I legitimately am.
Okay. Well, I think that's fair though, the wired and tired thing. Like I get the zoomies like at like 1:00 in the morning. Like it's
Oh my God, I was reorganizing my drawers at 10:45 and I still half of it's laid out still because I was like, what am I doing? I was like, why am I starting this project right now?
No, I like sometimes I drive my fiance Michael crazy because I will start cleaning at like 11:00 and he's like, can you sit down? And I was like, no, I just got this I have this urge to just start doing things. And he's like, that is not him. So like our schedules are very different in terms of when we do things.
No, and I am 100% more of a night owl when it comes to just like
Same.
getting things done around the place. I have a hard time like waking up. Like when I wake up in the morning, it takes me a good solid like hour, 2 hours
Mhm.
to like get in that mindset of like, I'm going to do dishes, I'm going to do laundry, I need to get ready and go to the store. But for some reason, once like the sun goes down, I'm like, oh my God, the world is my oyster. I
Yeah.
can do anything I want in the world.
I know. I like literally feel like people have seen me in the morning, obviously. And Michael asked me to drive him to the bus stop this morning. And he's asked me to do this for the last couple of weeks. It's literally right up the block. He could walk, but it's like I could just drive him up the
Is
street.
it the one that we walked to?
No, it kind of, but it's like a
Okay.
little bit a ways down because his house is a little bit farther down the street.
Okay.
But it's the same like line. Like it's just down the street.
Okay.
And 9 times out of 10, I wake up at home and I have to text him and did I drive you to the bus stop this morning? And he's like, "You did." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't remember doing that." Today I sat behind a garbage truck for like 10 minutes because I just didn't know what I just stopped the car and just stared at them and putting garbage into the garbage truck and they were like, "You can go around." And I was like, "I'll wait."
Yeah, no big
And I
deal.
just sat there. And it's not even like 6 a.m. It was like it's like 8 o'clock in the morning. It's like normal people time
Yeah.
to wake up. But if I could sleep for 15 hours every single day, I would.
I need to get better. I either oversleep or I undersleep. And it's so funny because me and my boyfriend we're not doing long distance. He's only about an hour and 40 minutes away. So it's nothing too crazy, but he's away for his work. Um his athletic work. Um and we've been like our schedules have been so opposite because he's had a lot of early mornings and we've been like missing each other. So he was home this weekend and I was like, listen, I was like, I really want some good morning texts this week because just like girlfriend things. I was like,
Sure.
I need some attention. He was like, oh my God, get it. So this week he sends me good morning texts. Then he doesn't hear from me until 1 o'clock. And he's like, Jordyn, he was like, what is going on? And I was like, I'm so sorry. Like,
That's like the most valid thing I've ever heard. I'm just like, I want to wake up to something nice. And you're like, oh, but I won't wake up until like
exactly.
12.
He would text me at like 9:30 and he was like, good morning. This is what I'm doing for the day. Da, 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 da. And then he would
Mhm.
text me at like noon and he would be like, I'm now 0 for 2
Yeah.
in getting a response to the good morning text that you specifically asked for.
Oh man, that's so valid. It's just so valid. I love that for you. You should just keep doing that the whole week. Just it's
And then the
fun.
one day he doesn't, I'm gonna be like, "Where's my good morning text?" He's like, "You haven't responded to me in 2 months." Like,
Jordan, I thought we were like done. We haven't spoken to each other.
oh my god, he's an angel.
Oh, he is. He
He
is.
is. He is.
That is so funny though. I love that. I love that for us.
yeah,
Nighttime girlies.
definitely nighttime girlies.
Yes,
I mean,
definitely.
it makes sense. We literally met working night shift,
That's so true. That is so true. I mean,
and we
yeah, we were working
thrived.
4 to 12s for the most part, which
Yep.
honestly, I thought I had like such a better work schedule when I was working at night. Like, I don't mind working obviously like normal work hours, but
Mhm.
I was like pristine. And I was able to like wake up at like 10 a.m. I was able to get up, work out, do my thing, get a couple errands done, get myself ready, and then get to work and not feel like groggy. Like
Yeah,
it was like such an amazing experience. Like I really love that like set of time. I don't know why.
you're
It's
a night shift girly.
night shift girly.
You
That
know,
is
I
awesome.
my friend Robbie works for I wasn't gonna name drop him and it just came out. Hi Robbie. He works for a company that's remote, but they're based a lot of their employees are based West Coast.
Yeah.
So he's on that like because obviously he's East Coast, but he's on that in between time. So his work days are like 10 to 6 instead of like the normal 9 to 5. And I'm like, you know what? That's like perfect.
Yeah. It really is.
It is.
It's
Because
the
I'm
best
not
way to
as
work.
much as I try, I really, really want to be a morning person. I
Yeah.
fail.
What's so funny is that one of my but I'll name drop one of my best friends, Sarah, who lives on the West Coast and will just we'll just cover over there. So she and I have been friends since the 7th grade, and she used to drive me to school like every morning, like with her car. But before that, her parents would come and get us, like or pick me up from my house and then go to school because she was like on the way to school. Like my
Yeah.
house was like literally right there. And her dad to this day still laughs at me. He's like, you would like zombie walk from your house to the car and I would just knock out on the window. Like I'd be like, "Good morning," and he'd be like, "Good morning, Samantha. How are you?" And I'd be like, and then I'd just knock out. And then I would like, like when you just know when to wake up.
Yes.
Like I would wake up at school. Like I would like open my eyes and we'd be pulling into the parking lot, and I'd be like, "Thank you," and he's like, "Have a great day, Samantha," and I'm like, "Thank you." Literally every single time they would come and get me, and like he was just like, "Is this how she is every day?" And she was like, "Yeah, she just doesn't live in the morning." It'd take me to like second period, and then I'd be like, "Oh, right, I'm at school. Okay. Cool. Like I'm here now."
All right. Now I know where I am. Everything's okay.
Yeah.
No, there was one day I was in high school. I think it was it's either my sophomore or junior year of high school. And I had a cold or allergies or something.
Yeah.
So my mom goes, "Oh, take a Dayquil to get through the day." And I go,
Oh,
oh,
no.
you know where this is going. So I go over. I don't know why. I can't remember what it was. Is the NyQuil green?
I think so, and the Dayquil's orange.
Orange. I don't know why. I was like green, grass, sunshine, took the green. I have no idea why because it really doesn't make sense. But whatever they are, I flipped them and I 100% took NyQuil at like 7:30 in the morning before the bus was coming to pick me up to take me to high school. And then finally I'm in first period and all this, like I made it through homeroom, felt fine. By the time I was sitting in first period, I remember it was an algebra class. My teacher was tough. She was like one of those like
Yeah.
teachers that you're on your best behavior for. You don't mess around in her class.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there literally like dozing off through class. And afterwards she called me up and she was like, "I need you to tell me what is happening." She thought I was literally like on drugs.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I would think.
yeah, she thought I was like on like
I mean,
narcotics. Like
technically you were on drugs,
I
but
mean,
not
I
doing
was, but not like purposefully in a bad way. I literally was looking at her and I was like, no, I was like, I had a cold. I was like, I think I took the NyQuil. I was like, there's something wrong with me. She was like, get to the nurse right now. And my mom literally had to leave work and pick me up because I could not make it through the school day. It totally screwed me up.
That is so funny. I did something similar. I thought I took a non-drowsy Benadryl once in college, and then I went to class, and then I like literally was like, I'm hallucinating.
Yes. No,
Like,
it's because you're trying to fight it.
yeah. No, the same thing happened. And if Michael's watching this, he's gonna kill me for telling this story, but I think it's the funniest thing in the world. But we went to a wedding in Italy, a whole other story. I think I've told you this story.
The
And
travel
basically,
story.
the travel story, yeah. And basically, Michael took a NyQuil on the plane to go to sleep so we'd wake up like in New York, in America.
Yeah.
And his body rejected it. And he went into the airplane bathroom and sat down and just stared at himself in the mirror for like 20 minutes because he thought the person in the mirror was going to move. So it was just his reflection. So he just stood completely still. And he comes back. I fell asleep for like 4 hours, and like I woke up and I looked at him. His eyes are bloodshot, and he was like, "How was your nap?" And I was
I've been trying.
I to this day think that is the funniest thing in the world. He does not. Well, maybe now.
Maybe now. No, it is because I know that feeling when you're trying to fight off like drowse. Like once you take that, you're done for. And then trying to fight it off is literally a war within yourself. And you're like, I don't know what's real anymore. Like
Literally nothing. Nothing is
Yeah.
real. You enter
No.
the matrix, and it's the red pill and the blue pill thing, but you've taken both of them, and you're like, I don't know what's going on.
Wait, ironically, this is kind of a good segue into one of my topics that I wanted to bring up.
Bring it on.
So I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember when we were in our office
Okay.
prior to everything.
Yep.
And we were talking about the podcast and we were like joking around. Like at this point, like we always knew we wanted a podcast. And this was when we like seriously started talking about it, but like it wasn't official yet. And
Mhm.
we were just like tossing things around. I found this in my notes. We asked ourselves a question that I think I like legitimately want to know the answer to. And I had it written in my notes, and it was, what would be the place that you choose if there is that one of your topics?
I was
The,
gonna bring that up.
the zombie apocalypse?
Yeah.
You're fucking kidding me. Even
I
when
100%.
we
I
don't
had it written
discuss.
down. Like, remember I made like a note in my
Yes,
iPhone?
no,
Like
I
I
wrote
was
it.
like,
I wrote it in mine too, I guess, because I was scrolling through. I went to write down like my other ones that I have. I hate us. Even when we don't talk about show topics, we end up with the same show
somehow
topic.
we're prepared.
Of course. So
Yes.
where would you live in the zombie apocalypse?
I have had this discussion with my mom so many times because she's like genuinely concerned about this. Like she's
I
like,
mean,
we're gonna
valid.
end up in a zombie apocalypse and we need to know what we're gonna do. Our first thought was always to go to Costco because Costco has everything and you
Mhm.
have freezers and you have a lot of space, a lot of backlog of a lot of stuff. You ever look up in Costco?
No, I don't think I've ever like officially been in a Costco.
Oh my God.
I know.
You just any kind of wholesale store, BJ's, Sam's Club, Costco, anything like that.
Okay.
You just look up, it's just the ceiling just keeps going. Like I think that's where like SpaceX is or something like that cuz like it's never ending and
In
it's
the
just
ceiling of Costco.
towers and towers of supplies. So it's a great place to go. But my mom then says everyone's going to go to Costco. And I was like, you're so right. So she said that she just wants to sit on the roof of our house with a shotgun and just like kill zombies. And I was like, you know what?
It's pretty iconic.
It is. It is. And so as of right now, we're probably also my dad does keep a lot of backlog of stuff to begin with. Like during COVID, we had like a lot of extra supplies because we didn't
We
know
were
what was going to
prepared.
happen.
Yeah.
So my mom was like, "I think we'd be fine to stay at home." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine with me." So we're probably going to sit on the roof of my house with
Perfect.
firearms.
No, can I be invited? So
Yes.
I was like really thinking about it, and same thing. My mind first went to Costco, Target. Now,
Mm.
and this is where like the delinquent part of me comes in because I'm like, okay, as long as I'm not being attacked, I'm gonna want to enjoy myself to an extent. I don't know if it would be possible. So it depends on the severity of the zombie apocalypse. But I would like to
Okay.
travel down south to a warm Costco where they sell liquor in the Costco's because we can't get that in Jersey.
That's very fair. And I went to a Walmart in South Carolina once, and let me tell you, it was an out of body experience. They
Right?
have
Like
everything.
they have everything. So I'm like, okay, like I get it, the world is ending, but if I'm not being personally attacked in that moment, I would like to enjoy a glass of Pinot Grigio or a nice glass of Cab if I'm in a red mood.
Yeah.
And I would like to have access to those things. Also, you're not going to believe me. I Googled what weather temperature is best for zombies.
It's fair.
It's better to be in warm weather.
It's better for us to be in warm weather.
It's better for us to be in warm weather if there are zombies.
Well,
Now,
I suppose they're dead bodies, so they have to be cold.
yes. I don't know where this information came from,
Mhm.
but the logic is be in a warm place. So I'm thinking like go down south somewhere like kind of desolate. Ooh, maybe I could find a little farm that's like near a Costco and I could like travel or I could like build a farm near a Costco. I don't know if I'm handy enough to do that.
I bet you if you wait a certain amount of time, the world will naturally create like, you know, land
Are you picturing
around
Last of Us?
sort of,
That's
but
what my mind goes to.
like it'll naturally build around a building and you'll be able to have that building with the land around it like the all the flora and the fauna will come in and just kind of bring the world back to what it naturally would be
I
before.
know. I just wanna be alone. I love it. Like, when I tell you, Now, obviously, I understand I'm not taking away from what the negatives of COVID and how awful it was. But when my family was healthy and we were just locked in our house,
Amazing.
it was, like, I could use, as long as I know, obviously, because like there were so much long lasting effects post like the
Sure.
actual lockdown. But if we could get where everyone's just like, you know what? No disease. We're just going to lock the world down for 3 months, keep the liquor stores, banks, grocery stores open, but everyone just stay home. You know what? Maybe give it 2 months. I feel like 3 months may be pushing it at that point. 2 months of just like the world shutting down. I think we should do it like every 3 years.
Do
Just,
I did I spell apocalypse right?
I have absolutely no idea.
Wait, I think it's apocal. You know what? I'm just
Sam,
gonna hide that.
you are my grammar check.
Oh wait, it's underlined red.
Loving him was Fred.
Oh my god, I don't know how to spell apocalypse.
Fred. Fred. We can
Apocalypse.
Google.
But I 100% agree with you. I think that when I so apart from the fact that I was unable to see Michael because we lived in different houses at the time,
Mm,
I didn't see Michael for 2 months during COVID. I mean, we talked every day, like, sometimes
yeah.
we'd, like, drive to each other's houses in our cars and, like, scream out the window, but, like, we didn't spend time together for 2 months, basically. But let me tell you, I felt so secure
Oh, it was,
sitting at home, like and both my dad and my brother were still working.
yeah.
So, like, it was my mom and I in the house, and we would just, like, make a bunch of food and, like, do this, that, and the other
Oh my
thing.
God. I ate because my mom was home. Like, obviously, none of us we were all unemployed at that point. So we were all trapped in our house. And my mom's a great cook. And she had all this time. We were having like homemade crab cakes,
Oh,
steaks, fillets,
yeah.
like salmon, London broil, like all these Italian pastas. And I was like, oh my God, like I was eating the best I've ever eaten. So it was just like these gourmet home cooked meals every day because that's like all we had all the time in the world.
Yeah. I don't know if you did, but I was heavy on the quarantine walks. I
I was
went
heavy on
on
quarantine outdoor yoga.
Oh,
I
that's
loved it.
nice.
I did it in my backyard like every day with my dogs.
That's really nice. No,
Yeah.
I went on a walk every single day, like, every single day.
I mean, they're
And
good.
I think that was the only way I was able to balance out the food I was eating and me like,
Yeah.
staying at the weight that I was at. Like, I didn't gain a lot of weight during COVID because I just walked all the time. And at the time too, like, you didn't know, like, with the mask thing, so, like, I, like, had a mask with me, and if, like, I saw someone, like, 30 yards away, I'd be like, "Whoa, gotta put the mask
No,
on."
literally, I was so paranoid. And in the
Yeah,
grocery store, I like didn't even want to like bump into. I was like, like going to the grocery store was like terrifying.
yeah. But in terms of the zombie apocalypse, I feel like that would be a great way to just, like if I just gathered my loved ones in one
Yes.
place and just had all of the supplies and everything, like, I'd be the happiest clam in the world.
I would thrive. I would literally thrive. Oh my God. You
100%.
know what? I would also have to rob a Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, yeah. I meant to tell you I started Mad Honey.
Do you love it?
I literally sat down, I read, like, the first, like, 60 pages,
Oh,
and I was like,
I think I read it. It's a big book, and I think I read it in like 2.5 days because I could not put it down.
"I love it so far."
Good.
It's exactly what I needed, like, a book that has just automatically hooked me and, like, I'm in it, it's easy to read, it's very good, so I'm very excited to continue
You
reading.
got Mad Honey, and then you also got One True Loves, right?
Yeah, I
You're
started Mad Honey first.
Yeah, no, you're literally reading them. That's so funny. They were literally my book club books back to back, Mad Honey and then One True Loves. And you're gonna love both of them.
I'm so excited.
Did
But
you
anyway,
wait, real
go ahead.
quick, one more
Yes.
book question. Did you read Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover?
Mm-mm.
Brian's mom just gave it to me. So that might be
Okay.
the next one that I do.
I've only read, like, 2 Colleen Hoover books.
I think I've only read 3. No, 4. 4, because the It Starts With Us, the sequel.
Mm.
I read It Ends With Us, It Starts With Us, Verity, and Ugly Love.
Yeah, I only read Verity and then I read Heartbones, which I didn't even know was by Colleen Hoover at the time.
Wait, you didn't read It Ends With Us?
Mm-mm.
Sam, you're
That's
gonna
what everybody says, but like I've just never gotten around to I don't know, it also like didn't grip me, so like I don't
I
know.
don't know. Like, I'm not like, you know how there are people that are like die hard Colleen Hoover stans?
Yeah.
I don't have anything against Colleen Hoover. I think her books are lovely is an interesting word because they get a little dark, but you know what I mean. Like they're easy to read, they're quick. Like I like the characters. I think if I read all of hers, it would get repetitive, and
Yes.
I would get that vibe. But the ones that I read, I thought were great. It starts with, or it ends with us. I'm sorry. It ends with us. I think you have to read, and the movie's gonna come out. Like Lively starring in the movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, no, it was one I read it. You remember when I just like hopped on a plane last year and went to Florida by myself?
I do remember that, yes.
A little bit of a mental breakdown, but it's okay. I read It Ends With Us in Florida. Literally, I started it. I read like 50 pages. Say I started it at 8 p.m. and I read 50 pages, went to bed, woke up the next day, finished it by 5.
Wow.
Like did not do anything and just blubbered, cried, and read this book and loved every ounce of it.
I'll put it on the list.
Yes,
I'll put it on the list.
it's on
But
the list.
I don't have any segue into this, but I do have a topic that I want to chat with you about.
Bring it on.
Are you at all interested in the Met Gala?
It's
Like, I genuinely want to know, like, and I want to talk about it like as a whole, like
yes.
not just like what just happened at the Met Gala.
So I never even know when the Met Gala is going to be, but all of a sudden I see one post of like this person's outfit, and I was like, oh, the Met Gala must be tonight. And I get sucked in to all the outfits. I don't even really like, other than them walking, what is the Met Gala?
Um,
Is it just the walk? Like what?
I think they have dinner.
So it's just all of these super, super, super famous people
I'm
get
gonna look it up.
dressed up in these crazy outfits and eat dinner.
I'm gonna look it up.
That's that's the only thing that is confusing to me. And also, like, I know there's a theme every year, but like, I feel like people don't actually do the theme consistent enough to
I
where
agree.
it's like confusing.
Yeah, like I mean, I get roped into again, I never know when it is until I like start scrolling
Yes.
on Instagram and like I see all the things and then I'm like, then I go, "Oh, I wonder what the theme is." And like this year it was like a person,
Yeah. Apparently, a really shitty person.
Karl Lagerfeld or something like that.
Yeah, who apparently like I saw one TikTok video where like the interview was like, how does it feel to be here and representing Carl? And like every single celebrity like would not mention him at all because apparently he's very problematic. I don't know what he did, so someone can educate me, but apparently he's not a good person. And it was like weird that
Well,
this
he
was the
died.
theme.
That's why they did that. Like he
He
just passed
died.
away.
Okay. But I need to Google the controversy because I'm gonna wanna.
Well, real quick, basically, so it is the Met, which is a museum.
Yes.
So they do go in and walk around the exhibits and then they sit down for a formal dinner. That's what
Um
happens.
Oh, he has a long history of making derogatory comments against sexual assault survivors, immigrants, and fat people, amongst others.
Oh, fuck.
And this is who we just did the whole Met Gala theme for. And I wonder why no one was talking about him.
Yeah, but I feel like every Met Gala theme should be a little bit more I don't know. I don't want to say not specific because it should be specific so that we see the theme. But like, I loved the year when it was like camp and like everyone dressed up like Elton John basically. And like, I was like, oh, this one is fun because
See,
like,
but I saw a TikTok today from like one
yeah,
of the fashion girlies because I agree. Like the when I think of the Met Gala, I think of the camp one just
hmm
because that's where it was like the craziest outfits. This girl was literally like the camp theme was the worst year of costumes ever because like no one actually understood camp. And I was like,
Yes.
well, then make the themes. Cause I feel like last year, I can't remember what it was, but it was like the super long, it was like an explanation of the theme in the theme. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. And like, I'm not like, I just want to see everyone walk and be elegant and crazy and like, I
Yeah.
love the experimental looks. Like I love looking at them, but I just like I'm not cultured enough. I don't understand enough.
Last year it was In America, an anthology of fashion. That was last year, I think was the year that Blake Lively had that stunning dress that was rose gold.
Yes.
And then they pulled it off and it was the ceiling of Grand Central Station.
You
And
know,
with the constellation, oh my, I get chills thinking about it. It was
I
beautiful.
I actually saw a post earlier this week that was like Blake Lively will not be at the Met Gala. Coming from someone that, like I said, doesn't even know when the Met Gala is until it's already happening. I was distraught. I was like, what is the point of the Met Gala if Blake Lively is not going to be attending? Because
Yeah.
she is the Met Gala. She steals it every year.
The Met Gala has been going on since 1973.
Well, I just saw, speaking of a TikTok
Yes.
journalism thing, not actually, it's
Mhm.
not journalism at all. But this one TikTok was like showing how the Met Gala is like foreshadowing the Hunger Games literally happening. Because if you like play the Hunger Games music underneath and it's all the people wearing like
It looks like the Capitol.
yes, and it literally shows like the difference from like the rich and the royal compared to like us who are just like normal. And it like I literally was like, yo, I was like with the Hunger Games music, like the are you like playing underneath with like all these celebrities dressed up on the mat. It was freaky. It was really freaky.
That's so weird. I really like it.
Yeah. No, it like I'm gonna have to send it to you
Please
because
do. I would love to see that.
yeah, no, it was like I think this is one of the ones I saw in like the middle of the night too when I was awake for absolutely no reason being nocturnal. And I was like, yo, because like I was a big Hunger Games girly, read the books, saw all the movies. I know the costume and the vibe. So like seeing these real people, not like I mean, yeah, real people that we're like associate with as a part of like our everyday, like they're famous in our eyes, like they're real famous people, like picturing them as like capital folk. Oh, gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Well, okay, let me ask you this because I'm just on the MetLife. Oh my god.
We can't get football out of our brains.
The Met Gala Wikipedia page. Take a guess. How much do you think one ticket is to the Met Gala this year?
I'm gonna say $10,000, about the same as the Super Bowl.
It's more.
How much more?
A lot more.
20? More?
This year it looks like I'm looking at all of them. This is the most expensive year and it's gone up an insane amount of money since last year.
Wait, so is this what they have to pay to go, or is this like if we wanted to go?
Correct. I believe
Okay.
you get invited. You have to get an
Okay.
invitation to the Met Gala to like go to the red carpet, I believe. $50,000 for one ticket, and last year it was 35.
Inflation.
Yeah. This is why eggs are $8 a dozen. But like in the past, it's like last year was 35, the year before that was 35. 2020 it says NA because nobody was there.
Yeah.
35, 30, 30, 30, 25. Like it goes
That's
in
a
like
big jump.
5 or 10 grand increments. And yeah, and then all of a sudden this year it just jumps up to $50,000.
I also was looking at some videos from the red carpet, and apparently there was like a lot of drama. Did you see this?
What kind of drama?
There was like I'm gonna get torched because I'm not educated enough to actually explain, but there was like a really famous designer who was
Okay.
there, and there was a woman from SNL who was interviewing her, and like she was with Aubrey Plaza and Madeline Klein, and the interviewer did not, and like Aubrey and Madeline are literally wearing her designs, standing right next to her, and the interviewer's like asking her who she is. And the girl, and like she was like giggling and like being funny, and the girl was like, "Do you not take this seriously?" And she was like, "No." And you could tell. And then Aubrey was like, and I was
Wait,
like,
who was the interviewer?
someone from SNL, Olivia or Chloe something.
I'm interested.
This is why I am.
SNL Met
I've
Gala.
been like
Chloe
dumb.
Feynman.
Yes.
Chloe Feynman. I'm not as familiar. Oh, this girl.
Yes. And like I didn't think like it just felt like it seemed like she was new to interviewing. So like
Yeah.
it didn't feel malicious, but it seemed like a little like, and she was trying to recover and it just wasn't bouncing back. And I understand the designer, like if you're like this like very important designer, and especially if like the girls next to you are like big stars wearing your designs, like at least have some knowledge. But
Yeah.
apparently that was awkward. But then here's the other side.
Uh-huh.
So I saw that and I was on team designer. I'm going to get canceled because I don't know her name, but I was on team designer. I was on team designer. Then I see another TikTok of the same group, designer, Aubrey, Madeline Klein with Emma Chamberlain.
Yes.
And the designer was like singing and doing something and then just like dropped Emma Chamberlain's mic on the ground, like to try and do a mic drop. But like, those mics are like heavy and expensive, and like you don't just like drop, like that's not the kind of mic that you just like throw on the ground. And then Madeline like ran up to Emma Chamberlain later in the night and was like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." So then everyone was like, okay, is the designer actually the problematic one? Because initially everyone was team. I don't know. This is the drama that this is like Met Gala 101 dumbed down.
I'm trying to find the. Oh, it's Stella McCartney.
Yes.
Oh. Interesting.
Yeah, so it was big.
Wow. But you know what? I'm just looking through like an article that has like a bunch of tweets and stuff like that. The same interviewer, Chloe Feynman, was calling Aubrey Plaza Audrey the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, that's not her name.
Yes.
Sounds like she wasn't very prepared for this.
Yes. And that was the thing. And then like if she's from SNL and she has this like if her whole thing is being like dumb and funny.
Right.
And like and like again, I am a complete outside source. Don't take anything of what I'm saying with this is literally like
cancel Sporty Jordyn.
Cancel Sporty Jordyn for the Met Gala. The information that I am providing is like my cousin's sister told me that her ex-boyfriend's dog like that is me trying to explain the Met Gala. I am a sports girly, so I am trying.
Yeah,
but
no, and especially because Jordyn did not. This is not her topic. It was my topic to bring up. So we're just.
This is what I've like pulled away as someone who has like no education for the Met Gala. These are the headlines that I've pulled away. Also, like Doja Cat and oh my god, there was someone else. Yes, they were meowing. Everyone was meowing.
It was very strange.
Yeah, because apparently Carl had a cat.
Yeah, and like I mean Doja Cat doing the cat thing, I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
But like I saw the interview with her and Emma Chamberlain and she was just meowing the whole time. And at first I was like, oh haha, and then it kept going and I was like, I don't know why I'm like getting a little bit uncomfortable watching this.
Emma, the queen that she is, handled it with grace and like she kept it going and still made it entertaining and funny, but strange. And we did get to see a reunion of her and
Jack Harlow.
My lover boy, Jack Harlow.
Yeah, I saw that. That is still like to this day. I love that original video where it's like, love ya.
Yeah.
Love ya.
And then her face where she was like,
yeah, she's like, it's such a good video. I love that. I love their interactions with each other. It's hilarious.
Oh, iconic. Iconic. All right. My other topic.
Yeah.
It's like so random, but I have this like weird phobia of what I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
it's a thing that's like meant to be good and protect you, but it scares me more. And I haven't got one. I'm scared to get one. I need to know your thoughts. What are your thoughts on Ring doorbells? Do you have one? Would you ever have one? And then I'll explain my fears.
Okay, I don't have a Ring doorbell. I've thought about it, but, like, I know people who do, and I just think it's more funny because there are times where, like, because my cousin has a Ring doorbell, and there was one time his brother, my other cousin, showed up at his door and stole his package and then flipped off the camera, and ever since then, we thought it was the funniest thing, so we always, like, try and find, like, really funny Ring door, like, footage that's just very funny. Um, but I don't have any fear against them. I feel like you said, it's supposed to help you. Why are you afraid of Ring doorbells?
Because I like to live in a world of just like, I don't know what's going on around me. And
Ignorance
I
is
don't know
bliss.
why it is. I don't know why the thought, like, I understand. And like, I know this is like not logical. And I know like I probably should get one and have one, but I don't know why they freak me out. Like, if someone was like creeping around my place and like was outside my door, I don't know why seeing them would freak me out. Like, I'd rather just not know if they were there. You know what I mean? Like,
Fair.
I'd rather be left in my ignorance. Obvious, and like, I get I literally had this conversation the other day while they were like, well, what if they cross the line and break in? Like, what do you want to know? And I was like, yeah, no. I was like, I understand this is like a very irrational fear, but like, I don't know. I feel like anytime someone walked by my door, I would get freaked out. And I feel like seeing people, like, I'd rather just like not know who's walking around. Like, I'd rather just live in my bliss of like, I live alone. I'm the only person in the world. No one can harm me. Like,
I know that I don't know if you've seen any of these TikToks, but I didn't know who this girl was. I found out, like, recently. She's at Barstool Sports, Brianna Chicken Fry.
yes.
So I saw, like, a bunch of her videos before I knew who she was, and it was her talking about how she got a Ring doorbell in her apartment building, and then, like, there was, like, management or her landlords or whatever were like, "We're gonna start taking down the Ring doorbells," and she's like, "Why? It's my Ring doorbell." And apparently, and she also was like, "I'm living next door to, what's the guy? What's the serial killer
Jeffrey
that,
Dahmer.
Evan Peters played?
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer." She was like, "I'm living next to Jeffrey Dahmer," because she would hear, like, noises in the middle of the night and, like, sawing and, like, all, like, very scary stuff, so she got a
Wait,
Ring doorbell.
she heard, pause.
Yeah.
She heard sawing in the
Something
middle of
like
her,
that. It was
sis,
she
move.
yeah, she was like, well, the thing is that she just signed her lease, like, she's been there for, like, 2 months.
And then, so she said, the man next door to me, I don't know what he's up to, but I hear sawing in the middle of the night. And they were like, yeah, no Ring doorbell for you.
No, but she put it up, and so the whole thing is that she found out that that neighbor complained about her Ring doorbell and said she needs to take it
Oh
down.
my God.
And
That,
she was like, "I'm 100% not doing that, and it's my property, and I'm leaving my Ring doorbell up." But, like, she would watch the footage, and in the middle of the night, she'd, like, see him walking by, and at one point, he stood there and, like, looked at her doorbell and was, like, maybe considering taking it off. So, I guess your fears are valid.
yes, no, like, I'd rather, like, and I get it. I get, like, I know how much good they can do. And
Yeah.
eventually, I'm probably going to get over this and get one. But I don't know like, because like I'd overthink everything. Like, any person that walked by my door, I'd be like, did they look at it too long? And I feel like it would like cause me more stress and anxiety than it would like benefit me. Because like, I mean, obviously anything can happen, but like, I like to think optimistically, and
Yeah.
I still have hope for the world that, there's good people out there more than there's bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know why Ring doorbells really, really freak me out.
That's very fair.
Thank
That is a
you.
very fair statement. But yeah, I don't we do have cameras though. Like, not doorbell cameras, but my house does have cameras.
So like,
So,
if something happened,
yeah. But the doorbell thing, although I am that millennial that drops to the floor when I hear the doorbell ring. I
oh
don't
yeah,
answer the door.
no, I'm Gen Z, right?
Yes. I'm that cusp.
Yeah, because
You're,
no,
like, fully Gen Z.
Yeah. And
But,
I was
like
at
yeah, go ahead.
I was at my mom's the other day, and obviously, like, I don't live at my mom's anymore. I was just stopping by to see the dogs, and I was there alone. So I'm petting the dogs, and her door rings. Like, someone knocks on the door, and I was like, this isn't even my house anymore. I was like, I don't want to. And then I
Yeah,
waited, and then I saw someone like just like standing out there, and I was like, be a big girl, be a
yeah,
big girl. And it was literally, they were like, oh, like we just have to deliver. It was something for my mom, like mail. And they were like, we just have to deliver this to a person. And I was like, oh, and I shut the door and I was like, that wasn't scary.
yeah.
I made it through that. Like,
No, I literally if I hear the doorbell ring and I'm home alone, I drop to the ground and I army crawl through my kitchen because I have 2 windows. I have a window next to my front door, and then I have another window, like, in another room on the other side, but still in the front of the house. So
Mhm.
I go to that other window and I can peek through it and I can see if someone's standing in front of my front door. So I do that. Also, the Amazon and delivery workers were not letting us know when our deliveries were outside, so my mom made a sign that says, "Delivery workers, please ring doorbell." So now I'm getting used to it because every time we get a package, the doorbell rings.
Yeah.
But now I just always assume that somebody's at the door or somebody won't be at the door and it's just a package. And one time the doorbell rings and I was like, "Okay," and I always give it like 2 minutes, right? Just in case. So I
Yeah.
like gave it like a couple minutes, whatever, and I'm like, "Okay." I walk over to the front door, I open the door, I go to like look down to a package and I just see shoes. And I look up and there's this man standing there in just like a navy jumpsuit, like no name, no company on it, just a navy jumpsuit. And he was like, "Hi, I'm here to read your meter." And I was like, Okay, do you like, is it outside?" Like, I don't know where the meter is. And he
Yeah.
goes, "No, it's in your basement." Which is true. My meter is in the basement, but we hadn't set it up yet. So apparently, like, they could just drive by with, like, a thing. I don't know. I don't know how I don't even know what they're reading. I have no idea. And he goes, "No, it's in your basement. I have to." And I literally said, "Do you have to?" And he goes, "I guess not." And I said, "Okay." And I just shut the door. And then my dad came home and he was just like, did the guy come to read the meter?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't let
Oh,
him
you were
in."
aware that that was gonna be
I was like, "Yeah,
happening?
I didn't let him in." And he goes, "You didn't let him in?" I was like, "I don't know, it's just some random man asking to come and stand in the basement. That's weird.
Yeah.
I was home alone." And
They're
then
the ones that taught us stranger danger.
the same guy came back the next day, and my dad was home, and he opens the door and he's like, "Yeah, come on in. Come on and stand in our basement and read our meter." And then he walked by and he saw me and I was like, "Good morning." And he was like, "Hi, how are you?" And I was like, "I'm good." Like, this
Or I
man was
slammed
like,
the door
"Wow,
in your
this girl
face.
thinks I'm, like, gonna kill her," which is valid, I think.
You know what? With how much I don't know. I live with this sense of like looming over my shoulder, especially like, I mean, me and you were in the city a lot. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. Keep my pepper spray on me. Like, I am freaking strapped.
Let's just talk about that for a second, all the precautions that women have to go through. Do you know how many times I've been, like, parked in a parking lot at night and I jump into my car so that
Oh,
the person under my car doesn't slice my ankle tendons and kidnap me?
oh, and every time when I'm going like to get in my car, I look in my back seat first because I have a fear that there's just gonna be someone back there. And then even when I'm in my car, I'm like, I don't know why. Like if I like leave my car in a like kind of desolate place for a period of time and I'm in there alone, like my first couple minutes driving, I'm like looking over my shoulder, like checking to make sure there's still no one back there. Like I just have this fear.
Yeah, there was one time there was something in my trunk that I think maybe my brother threw back there or something, and I, like, didn't know it was back there, and it started rattling, and I was like, "That's an unfamiliar rattle."
Yeah, that's new.
And I was driving home from films. So,
That's a long drive for
it's a
you.
long drive for me, and it's dark, it's, like, 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, and I remember pulling over on the side of the New Jersey Turnpike and opening up my trunk and seeing nobody.
See, this is where going back to the Ring doorbell conversations where I like to live in ignorance, I would blatantly ignore it.
Oh,
Like,
see, I
even
can't. I would think too hard about it.
and like that's probably it's probably best because like I'm probably putting myself into a situation where like I'm just extending the inevitable and putting myself in a horrible case scenario.
Yeah.
But I can't. I'm like, I'd rather not know. Like, if there's a person in my trunk, I'll deal with it later when there's more people around. Like, I'm just Not for me.
On the list of things I need to do, dealing with the person in my trunk is at the bottom.
Yeah, no, now I'll stop at a McDonald's. I'll get a large Coke. Um,
Uh,
but no, I will if I hear something, even like in my apartment at night. Like there are sometimes where like I'll hear and like I can hear the people above me. I can hear people in the hallway sometimes. And there are sometimes I'm like, was that in my apartment? And I'm like, I'm not gonna check. I'm just gonna lay in bed. And whoever's in here, hopefully they let themselves out. Like
I've ever told you about the time that I almost whacked my dad.
no.
I literally so like there's a process in my house where like when you hear a car door like lock, you look outside and
Mhm.
you can always tell who's home because you can hear whoever's locked their car door. And like it's always like certain tinges too that I'm like, oh, that's my brother's car. Or, oh, that's my mom's car. And
Yeah.
like I peek outside. So I hear a door lock and it was like 2 p.m. And I was like, this was also years ago, by the way. So like I think I was home from college or something.
Yeah.
And I hear a door lock. I'm home alone. I look outside and I don't see any of my family's cars. And I'm like, oh, all right. Then it was just somebody else parking on the block. Then I hear my gate open and I was like, what was that? And then I have a porch. You've seen like my side door is
Yeah.
porch, and I hear the steps coming up the porch. I go to the other side of the refrigerator. I grab a broom, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to attack this person. It was like the first thing I could find, and I'm like leaned like up against the side, like hoping they don't see me.
I know your house, so I'm picturing all of this
Yeah, so,
happening.
like, up against, like, the other side of the refrigerator before the door. My dad walks in, I whip around the refrigerator, and I'm, like, full blown, like, ready to, like, start just going in, and he goes, "Whoa!" And I was like, "Oh, why are you home?" And he was like, "Why do you have a broom?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "I didn't know you were home." And, like, he had parked on the corner or something for some reason, I don't know why, like, he just wasn't in his normal parking spot.
Yeah.
And I was like, "I thought you were an intruder." And he was like, "Why is that your first thought?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Because I am a young woman
Oh
home
my
alone. What else do you expect from me?"
god.
He
No,
thought it was
literally.
funny after the fact. My mom thought it was hilarious. She was like, "Oh, we're never gonna get like, we get broken into,
Yeah,
forget about it. Sam's
we're
on
safe.
it." I'm gonna be like, "Bet, bet, bet, bet."
Come stripped. And then there'd be me who'd be sitting in the living room, like in denial that there's a break-in happening.
Someone just walked into my house. Eh.
Like, can you please just excuse yourself? I'm not ready to process this.
Please just walk out of my house.
No, there was one time, this will be the last story I tell, but I just told it the other day. I don't know why all this just reminded me of it, but I was a kid, I was in middle school. And do you remember like when you were in middle school and I don't know if everyone did this, but you got cameras and you went around and you had like photo shoots at like random locations?
100%.
So there was like this field in my neighborhood that you like cut through. There was like a gap in houses and there was like a little pathway and you walk through. And no, it really was an ugly field. But at the time we were like, oh my God, our artsy Tumblr pictures. Like it's gonna be fantastic.
Yes, the Tumblr era.
Yeah. So it was like me and a couple girlfriends and then a couple guy friends ended up showing up. We weren't obviously taking pictures with them, but we were all just like hanging out like kids, like nice sunny day, running around this field, having a great time, whatever. Sun starts to go down. We all go our separate ways, go home. All of a sudden, it's like we're all getting ready for bed. Like it's like late at this point, and there's a knock on the door. And I was like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden, my dad opened it because I was up in bed. He was like, Jordyn, can you come down here? And like, I'm literally like, I have to be anywhere between like 10 and 12. Like, I'm young. And all of a sudden, the police are at the door. And I was like, hello. One of the girls that I was with that afternoon when we all went our separate ways never went home. Like she went back with one of the boys and was like not answering her parents. So they were like, hello. And they knew like we had like this group of neighborhood kids. So they were like, just go check all the kids. So they gave him my house. And he was like, we're looking for blah, blah, blah. Like, do you know where she could have gone? So I was like, no, but here's the rest of the people we were with. Like, and we knew where everyone lived. So I was like, go check all their houses and they found her. Like, it's not like nothing happened to her. She just didn't want to go. She was being rebellious, didn't want to go
Right,
home.
right.
But the cops knock on the door and then they left. They gave my dad gave them like their phone number. He was like, please call when you find her. And they said it literally took like 15 minutes. It was like the second house they went to. He was like, we got her. We're bringing her home. No big deal. So it was fine. But all of a sudden, me and my dad had this moment where we looked at each other and I was like, I thought they were here for me. And he goes, I thought they were here for me. And it was like this 11-year-old and her dad, police knock on the door. And we were like, what did we do? I'm thinking like the field I was in was trespassing or something. My dad's like, did I run a stop sign? Like what happened that the police are knocking on our door at like 11 p.m.? So yeah.
Oh my God. If that happened to me, my dad would have like chucked me. He would have been like, what the hell are you doing?
You know, and the police at me, because they literally were like, can we speak to Jordyn? And my dad was like, and I'm like goody two shoes at this point in my life. Like he was like, why is the police coming for my 11-year-old daughter? Like, and then they explained, they were like, he was like, we're just looking for blah, blah, blah. And I was like, if she's not at one of these places, I don't know. And they found her and it was no big deal. But
oh my God. Wait, I'm gonna tell a quick police story real quick and then
give all the police stories.
We can wrap up our episode 3 for today.
Yes.
But basically, I was just talking about this. Like my family used to go down to Long Beach Island every summer. Like me and my dad and my aunt and uncle and my cousins, like we all got this huge house and it was the best time of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But one time we kind of like did our own thing. So like some people went to the beach, some people went into town, some people hung in the house. And my best friend, next door neighbor, Erin, was with me, and she was like, let's do something. Like we were like playing a game or something, and everyone went to the beach. Some people went to town, so we were the only 2 people in the house, and we couldn't find the sunscreen because we were planning on going to the beach. And I was like, let me just call my mom. And at the time, I was young, and I don't even know if I had a cell phone yet. Like,
oh, you were young.
I must have been 10, maybe 11. Maybe I'd just gotten a cell phone, but I'd run out of minutes. Like, it was that kind of year. Like, don't know what was going on. So the house had landlines, and I was like, I'll just use the landline, not knowing that the landlines don't work. And my mom's, I live in New York. I'm it's actually a retired zip code now, but not zip code, or
area code?
Yeah, area code. So she's 917. And apparently I didn't type 917 into the phone. I typed 911 into the phone. And I did it several times because I was trying all the different landlines, not knowing that they didn't work. So finally, I'm like, oh, she's not answering. Like the call's not going through, whatever. I'll find the sunscreen. We find the sunscreen. We're applying sunscreen to each other, like 2 young girls in this house, just like, getting ready for the beach. And I hear boom, boom, boom on the door. And I was like, no, what is this? I looked at, so it was like, there was like a little balcony over the front door. So I lean over the balcony and I look, and this fully office, like uniformed officer barges into the house. He's just like, who's here? And I was like, and in my tiny little like young girl voice, I was like, can I help you? And he was just like, is anyone else in the house? And I was like, my best friend's here too. And she leans over the balcony and she's like, hello? And he was like, we got several 911 calls with no audio. Like,
so they thought someone was being like abducted or kidnapped.
So he was like, is anyone else in the house? And I was like, no. And of course, I don't know how my dad knows when he needs to be around, but my dad opens the back like sliding door and walks in no shoes, no shirt, swim trunks, like was just lounging on the beach. And my dad just like opens the door and he looks up and he's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I don't know. And he's like, what is going on?
Your dad's like, how did we get here?
Like, and the officer's just like, we got several 911 calls, blah, 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 blah. And I went, and my dad looks at me and he's like, what did you do? And I was like, I was trying to call mom, but I must have pressed 911. And they were like, is anyone in danger? Is there anything going on? And my dad's like, no, my daughter's just dumb. And I was
And
like,
you know, there's nothing going on of importance in LBI. LBI is like one of the chillest, safest places. Like you just kind of wander, do your thing, family oriented. So they probably had nothing better to do. And they were like, oh my God, multiple calls. Let's bring the SWAT team. Like,
yeah, like I straight up, like, I'm sure this guy was about to call him back up for a second. And he was just like, are you sure? Like he was going to start writing up a report. And my dad, like, he like handled the whole situation
yeah.
like great. And the guy was like, all right, don't touch the phone anymore. And I was like, okay, thanks so much. And my dad was like, what are you doing using the landlines? And I was like, I was trying to call mom. I
I
didn't know
just
it was
wanted sunscreen.
But yeah, that was one of the most scariest moments of my life.
No, I don't blame you. I don't know why. Whenever like cops are involved, even when I know I'm innocent, like when they knocked on my door that one day, like it's just whenever they come around and they have this presence, and I'm like, oh my God, I
It's
think
the
of like
same like
every
when you're driving
yes.
and
Oh
you
my
see a
God.
cop car and you're like, how fast am I going?
Yes.
Am I
I'm
in a
like,
lane?
on the wheel. Don't look, don't avert your eyes from the road. Like,
Yeah. And then I remember like anytime I'm driving like on the turnpike or something, I immediately slow down to 65 and like they're behind me and I'm like, they're gonna get me. They're gonna get and I start
and then they
moving
pass
lanes
me.
and seeing if they yeah, and see if they follow me.
You
Yes.
know, I'm very paranoid. Even though like I really like there most of the time I'm like driving and I'm like, oh, and then I look and I'm like doing like right around the speed limit. And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my God. I'm like, what? I'm like, there are people doing fucking 120. And then there's me going 68.
75. Yeah.
Like I'm fine. Like in the
Yeah.
slow lane. Like
Oh my God. But
oh.
yeah,
Well,
cop
this
stories.
was definitely an episode of a bunch of things that no one asked for. We covered the zombie apocalypse, Ring doorbells, the Met Gala, and police invasions. What a headline. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to give us a thumbs up. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on audio, make sure to give us a rating, leave a review, follow us. I don't know what all the audio platforms do, but just engage with us in any way. Give us a boost. You can find all of our socials. They're all different, so get a pen. Twitter at Sam and Jordyn. TikTok at the Unsolicited _podcast. And oh wait, no, frick, I messed it up. Hold on.
Jordan, it's
Here we go
above your
again.
head.
I know I'm reading it wrong.
Oh.
Twitter at Sam and Jordyn. Instagram is at the Unsolicited _podcast. TikTok is at Unsolicited _podcast.
Yes.
We're getting there.
I realized I had the ticker wrong this whole time.
Why?
It says new episodes every Tuesday, which is not true. Every new episodes are every Wednesday. Yes,
Wednesday.
I just changed it. So the ticker's right now, and the ticker has everything on there.
On Wednesdays, we wear pink and listen to the Unsolicited podcast.
We sure do.
We sure do. All right. Thanks for listening to episode 3, guys. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.